Welcome back to Clicks and Coffee. Today I'm speaking with Tom Donoghue, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Sales at SiteStaff Chat. Tom's journey is one of a kind. He blends military discipline with decades of digital marketing and brand building expertise to lead a platform that's redefining engagement in senior living. Under his leadership, SiteStaff Chat has scaled rapidly, driving higher lead volume, better qualified inquiries, and improved occupancy for communities using live chat and AI-powered follow-up workflows. We'll explore Tom's approach balancing innovation and empathy and how conversational tech is reshaping the sales roadmap for senior living providers. Tom, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Alex.
So I'm super excited to have you on the podcast because everybody talks about AI. Everybody talks about leads. Everybody talks about how do we take a lead? How do we shorten the sales cycle between, the first inquiry to the move-in? And we all know that it can get pretty dicey. We all know that now it's, you need to answer now. It's like always, nobody wants to wait. Amazon kind of ruined the whole thing for us where before people were okay waiting. It's like now I'm ordering, I want it, in 5 hours in my door. I don't care that it's a 50-pound package. I want it in 5 hours, So
exactly.
I'm super happy to have you. So before we dive into all the nitty gritty of how your company works and how the chat works and all this stuff that I think people would love, I want to hear about you and hear a little bit about your story and how you got started and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. So, my story starts out of college, military officer in the medical logistics field. And coming out of the military, had an opportunity to go to work for Procter & Gamble in finance and marketing. And then, hit a couple of different companies along the way and different industries, got into durable goods. But recently, I was thinking back that, wow, I really enjoyed my time as a medical logistics officer. Because our mission was real world, everyday helping people. We weren't training, we were supporting training units and deploying units, the whole 9 yards. But, I missed that type of work where you could really have an impact on somebody's life and really help them. So when the opportunity to join the SiteStaff Chat team came along, it really caught my eye.
I agree. And the funny thing, it's not funny, it's just remarkable, is that everybody that I talk to in the industry, they got in the industry because they cared and because it's like they had a personal relationship or they had a personal story about it and they do it because they really care. So it's great to hear that you also care, and that's a big trend in the industry. So before we dive into the platform, I also want to, if I not congratulations, but I like your jacket, and I heard before we start the meeting that is kind of like the trademark of the company to be in orange jacket, and I heard that there is even a bigger, a newer addition to the outfit.
Absolutely. So it really kind of starts with the company culture. We really enjoy working together, being together. When we're at conferences or trade shows, everybody hearing this knows the drill. It's a hard 3 to 4 days, but when we're there, we want to have fun, and we like to dress up in orange. There may be a couple of pretty outlandish orange garments in my wardrobe to include orange and white plaid pants. And then my latest addition is a orange metallic fiber paisley shirt that goes nicely under a blue jacket to, finish out our color scheme. So when we're at shows, we want to be seen, we want to have fun, we're not too shy. We'll dress in orange like this and have a good time with it.
No, no, it's a good idea. It's a good idea because that way, people know. Oh, it's the orange team. It's like the orange. Oh, you're the guy. You're the guy I saw the other day with the orange jacket. So it's an easy way
Exactly. We're
to
the orange crew.
exactly.
We'll tag images on LinkedIn every once in a while with the orange crew.
And so, how did SiteStaff Chat, got started, and because AI is just a couple of years old, but I know the company is a lot older than that. So, how did you guys started, and then how did you, see that AI trend? Because I imagine you saw the trend and then got into it. But can you tell us a little bit about the story of the company and how it evolved?
Yes, absolutely. So the company has been around for 15 years. Our owner of the company, Bill Jennings, started 15 years ago, and we started as a live chat company. So we saw a real opportunity specifically in senior living to bring live chat to websites to show that empathy, to show the understanding of what that adult child or that person that's looking for care for themselves. This is a major life-changing event. That something has triggered this search. And there's a lot of emotion. I mean, are you ready to move out of the house you've been in for 40 years? Or, I always use in my examples, hey, mom fell again last night. We can't leave her in that house anymore. We've got to do something. So the siblings get together, they talk. Tom, you're the oldest, go figure it out. Well, that's typically going to be somebody that knows nothing about senior living. They know nothing about the care levels. And when that sibling gets tasked with that responsibility, it's not like 3 o'clock in the afternoon they're going to have time to just drop by or call and ask. They've got a full-time job. They've got families, feeding kids, bringing kids to soccer. By the time all that happens, it's 9, 10 o'clock at night. So they start the journey on a website, and they start with the Google search, and then from the Google search, then they'll pick a couple of websites to go to. And we feel that having live chat agents on that website to help them really understand what makes that community unique and different is super important. So when Bill founded the company, he actually brought in executives from senior living to have them train our chat hosts. The language, the situation, what people are going through, what their journey is, what they need to expect in the weeks and days, or days and weeks ahead. But we started by being trained by experts in this field. And really, our platform works well for any high empathy category, whether it be certainly senior living, dentistry, elective surgery, legal, but really anybody with a website. We can help nurture that lead. If you can get the traffic to the website, we are going to help you convert between 2 and maybe 3+ more% of that web traffic to become a highly qualified lead. And in fact, our live chat is, they typically last for about 8 minutes. And the website
That is a
visitor,
long time.
yeah, it really is a long
That is
time.
very good.
And during that time, they get their questions answered. We're not trying to force an FAQ down their throat, but they get upwards of a dozen questions answered. And then, to go back to your point about the AI, with the advent of AI and AI coming on board, we've developed our own proprietary technology that only sources off of two sources. One, the community website, and the second is a proprietary knowledge base that we put together with the community. So if a community has 10 properties, that's 10 different knowledge bases that get very detailed on amenities, what makes each community unique. So we really go the extra mile to customize that and understand what makes that community unique. So at 10 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning, we can convey that confidently and nurture that person to become a highly qualified lead.
And so you were saying that so your company has people answering the chat for the senior living communities.
Yes.
So that's a big difference, because instead of having, people that answer or not answer, because that's the big problem on, chat that are like done directly by the communities or by any client, is how do you manage that chat? So I would say like the big idea behind SiteStaff is the fact that like your team is trained on each community that you guys on board, and you really like that, that's your job, is to manage the chat and make sure people get answers right away, and it's 24/7.
That is correct. So the way I describe the company is that we really bring a three-legged stool to support that community. The first is live chat, and we've talked a good bit about that. And then the second is our chatbot, powered by generative AI, that only sources from that knowledge base and the community page. And the third element is our generative AI toolbox. So we can schedule appointments, 24/7. We can do call transfer during hours of operation. And there's a number of other tools out there that we can use to really help. Once you get that lead to the site, what we don't want to have happen is them to go back to their Google search, because chances are they're not coming back. So you've spent all this money and put forth all this effort to drive traffic to the website, but we all know that websites only convert 1, 2, maybe 3%. So that leaves 97% of the traffic. They're going to come, they're going to go, and you're not going to know who they are. But if we can get them to engage in either the live chat, the chatbot, or our appointment scheduling, then that's where we earn their right, or earn the right to ask for their information. And it also hits on multiple age groups too. So there's a lot of white in this beard. I'm, a solid Gen Xer. I want to talk to a live person. I can't wait to hit 0 on the phone, right?
So yeah, 0 or 9. Usually those are the two keys that you have to press.
Exactly. And when I would guess, I'd never guess right. So I'm just impatient waiting to 0 or 9. But the live chat is great for people who want that human to human connection and conversation with a real person. Some of my colleagues, some solid Gen Zers, well, they grew up with chatbots and virtual sales assistants. So, they just want to get in, get their info, and go about their day. So they're very happy engaging with that. There are other people that essentially just want to fill out a form. We do custom forms, or fill out for an appointment and get on their way. So we think with our platform, we're just allowing more audiences that you're bringing to your website to find a platform that they're comfortable interacting with.
No, and then by providing all the solution, also you're reducing friction, because that's usually the biggest problem when you go on a website. As you said, some people, they want a form, some people, they want to chat, some people, they want a phone. So being able to offer everything effectively is always a good thing. I know in my personal case, I like the chat. So I always try the chat first. Why? Because I don't have to go through the whole phone menu. It's usually like, if a chat is well done, you click, and then usually within, either you get the AI and then you say agent. So it's kind of like pressing 0, but you say agent, and you talk to somebody right away, but you don't have to go through anything, and you talk to somebody and they kind of solve your problem. But, if the chat doesn't work, then I like to call. So that's kind of, at least in you get one more opinion, I would say, on how people are interacting, but that's how I like it. But No, it's a really cool idea. And so, can you walk us through? So let's say a community calls you and signs with you. How does it work? Because you get the traffic, you get to hold that person for 8 minutes on the website, which is remarkable. We are a digital marketing agency, and I can tell you, if you can hold a person 8 minutes on a website. So number one, the cool thing is that, first of all, is that that person is engaged. So the more time they spend on your website, the more time they are likely to convert. The second thing that is, I don't know if you know about this, but the longer people stay on your website in general, the better your website is going to be seen by Google and by all the search algorithm, because Google is always trying to bring people to the most interesting website. And an interesting website is a website where people spend time on. So knowing that like you can increase that average time on the website just by using this chat helps you with the sales, but also helps you with in the eyes of Google, which unfortunately is like the 85% or 90% of search traffic online. But that's a real added benefit to having a tool like yours is that to increase that average time on the website. So that's pretty cool. So company comes to you, they sign. How does the platform work? Because we were saying like, we have the traffic that comes to the website, talks to the chat, but then what comes after? Like, how do you guys helps with CRM integration? Which CRMs are you working with, or any? And then I know that you also have a lot more than just the chat and sending the leads for the community. So can you walk us through that?
Yeah, there's a lot in that question. I love it. So first of all, you bring up a great point of time on site. Just to be really clear, this is on the community website. This is not on like a third-party website. We're not, sending people to a different site. So all that time that they're spending in the chat and engaging with our tools counts against that community's website. So that's important. And then how do we go about it? Well, I mentioned, training is everything. Our chat host, when we bring a new chat host on, they go through 6 weeks of training before they ever engage in a live chat. And then they're chaperoned for quite some time until they get signed off. So, because we get the question quite often, well, wait a minute, how are you going to really be able to represent my community? And aren't you representing, other clients? And, how do you do that? Well, once we get someone to say, yes, we want to move forward with your platform, we will have an onboarding session. So our customer success manager, who is awesome, she has been doing this a long time, been with the company, I think almost 10 years. She will lead the onboarding. She's got a series of questions that she's going to go through to understand their business and hear from the principals of the business how they want their community or their practice to be represented. And that's a recorded session. And we use all that information to fill out those proprietary knowledge bases. There's one for the live chat and a separate one for the chatbot. And by having done this for so long, for 15 years, we know the questions to ask during the onboarding so that our chat hosts have everything they need to successfully represent the communities. So once that onboarding happens and we set up their chatbot and their, it's all customizable. So you can decide how many, call it FAQs, that are on there, or how many topics that you want to list on the chatbot. And you can decide, let's say that, pricing, you don't want any mention of pricing. That's just to go to the community. We certainly do that for some communities, And then others, they give a very finite range of, just go ahead and tell them. And that's how we roll with, with our prospects. So, quite a bit of training. And then we train all the chat hosts. They all watch the video. They review the KBs or knowledge bases. And, we have our best chat hosts that pick up those first couple of chats that come in for a new community, all while the customer success manager is watching that account several times throughout the day to make sure we're getting the right level of traffic, the right engagement, everything is working like it should be. And then we will do a monthly review for the first couple of months to make sure that our customer is happy with the results. So that's how we bring on clients and how we ensure success. And then at a going state, we'll do a quarterly review of the customer's dashboard on their results and recommend changes as, content on the website changes, maybe the navigation changed. We may recommend some changes there. So very interactive. It's not a sign up for the service and we'll see you next year when the contract's due. No, we'll meet on a monthly basis and we're very responsive to any requests we get in between those reviews.
And how does it work with the CRM integration? So because you said that you can do automatic tour scheduling and all this stuff, so you integrate with the CRM for scheduling and everything. So and which CRM are you working with, or just all of them?
Well, you know what, great part of the question I didn't get to in the last answer, but we integrate with all the CRMs out there. All the big players. It seems like a lot of our customers gravitate towards Welcome Home, so we love working with Welcome Home. But all of the information, whether it be what button they clicked on, how long they were on the SiteStaff Chat tools, all of that information, to include the chat transcripts, goes directly into the CRM. And it's really, for the marketing folks out there, think of it as a 24/7 focus group on your website and your community, because you'll get,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it really is a 24/7, because we pull out keywords that people are using, they're asking questions about. So that's useful for marketing directors around SEO optimization, about SEM and digital marketing. And all the metrics are available in real time. You can go on to the dashboard, custom date filters of when you want to start looking at the data, through what date. But all that's available, and all the information we collect goes right into the CRM.
And so we all know that, and we talked about it at the beginning, that people want answers right away. People want follow-up right away. And there are many studies, but the gist of it is like you need to answer within like 30 minutes. And I say like an email or a request or form, otherwise people start looking. And then we also know that a lot of the time people go with the first community that gets back to them, and that gets back to them in a positive way. Of course, if people, answer badly, or, oh, what do you want? You don't want that. But I mean, as long as people are doing a good job, if you're the first, you might be the last, and you might be the one that they're going to pick. So you guys have also, when people are filling out form or any follow-up, automated AI follow-up. So I don't know if it's a secret sauce that you don't want to talk about, but if you want to talk about it, I would love to hear a little bit more on that, and how is that even improving further, like the ROI on the system.
Right. Well, there's a couple of things that come to mind. A Harvard Business Review study said that 40% of leads come in outside of normal business hours. So that's a big number. And we can't staff the front desk 24/7 with people that that are customer facing and prepared to answer on behalf of the community. It's just not economically feasible. So that's where our live chat really becomes a huge differentiator. And to talk about those live chat agents, these are US based, college educated, and they're available 24/7. And we talked about the training. So they're not going to get on and say, well, our normal business hours are here, kind of your name, kind of your phone number, and then move on. Now they're equipped to have conversations about, well, what are you looking for? Who are you looking for? Here's what we offer at our community. So they actually use language so that they are representing the community as if they are part of that team. And that's how that's how we can respond instantaneously at 10 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning. And then as far as the AI tools, we program that to where we all know that AI tools are great and they're as good as the information that's put into them. But if a AI tool has received too many questions, sometimes there's a little bit of hallucination, trying to combine answers together type of thing. And we recognize that with our own bot, and we have programmed it to where if somebody's really going through a number of questions, we offer up the opportunity to talk to one of our live US-based chat agents so that they're getting good answers if they're really on that site for a long time. So between the AI tools of, when a lead does come in, we get the contact info. We will notify the team at the community, whoever they want to get notified 24/7, email notifications, text notification, but really kind of nurturing that lead. And we do not replace the sales team. We want to make that really clear. We are a resource for the sales team. So we want to capture that lead when they're on the website, have them feel like they're getting more information than they are from any of the other communities that perhaps they've found in the area. And it's a different experience. They've experienced empathy and somebody that really cares and wants to understand what they're going through. So that's a little bit of the secret sauce and how we make sure we keep those leads warm throughout the process.
And looking ahead, what are the innovation or next gen features that you guys are working on, if you're allowed to say? But I always like to have a little scoop on the podcast whenever I can.
Yeah, well, we're hitting the same news sources as really everybody else, right? So there's a lot of chatter on the development team around ChatGPT 5. What's that going to mean? Of course, voice command, voice instructions. We're looking hard at that. That's an area where there's some opportunity. But also, we don't want to. We don't want to stray away from, stick to your knitting, back to the 80s business books. Our differentiator is live chat. And I'm not going to name the company, but I had a pretty rough experience trying to get things set up on my phone with a multi-billion-dollar company. And their live chat was off. It was 2 to 3 minutes between responses. And I spent over 2.5 hours on live chat for this company. I wanted to see how bad it would get. And that's how, and I didn't resolve my issue, just to be clear. So, our secret sauce is live chat, that human to human empathy that, and we have an ethos in the company for the first time in 15 years, and it's empathy starts here. So we never want to take our eye off the ball that in this industry, human to human connection is never going away. AI might help, it might expedite things, but we can't lose sight of that human to human connection because that website visitor hasn't, because they're acting on behalf of a loved one. So we want to help them out best we can.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then the right thing that you're doing is making sure also that you're training the algorithm only on the data of that community, so they cannot like start talking about another community by accident, and then
Correct.
oh, but the chat told me that there was this. I was like, no, that's not that. That's maybe this community. Oh, okay, let me call them then. So at least you make sure that you keep it there. But no, it's super exciting, and I like the idea that you guys are really helping communities using AI as a tool and not a replacement. And
Mhm.
you know, um, one of the things that scares me the most, I love all technology, and that's why I'm in digital marketing. I'm always reading about everything, the crazy talk about Mark Zuckerberg, like, made an announcement yesterday about his super intelligence system. And I'm excited for AI because it's going to really help leverage so much resources and help me. Like, for example, I was using it as like a resource for a construction project. Might do a construction project at my house, and I was like, "Can you help me make a budget, a timeline? What should I do? What are the?" And then it really gave me like a whole document of like, these are the percentage, these are all the things that you need to pay attention to. Ask your GC this and that. Created a spreadsheet with like all the budget down to like the faucets. And so that
Right.
was really cool, and that I like. The only thing that scares me is that all those big LLMs, and they are like what, five big
Mhm.
ones. And so basically, the only thing that scares me is that some people's thoughts and ideas are going to come from these five companies, because if
Right.
people start talking to these AI chat and say like, who should I vote for next year? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? How should I behave with this? And people start asking questions like that, and basically these five companies are going to dictate how humans are going to be. So as much as I love it, I'm scared. I'm a little scared of like this kind of thoughts. But I love what you're doing, where you're really using it as like a tool to help the operators, and at the same time, leads and prospect and families that are really trying to find the perfect place for their loved ones. So yeah, sorry to go on a little bit of a tangent there, but you're in it, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, Mark, check that, and I know it's might be delayed, and people already might be talking about it already by the time it airs, but I think it was published yesterday, which was 30th of July. But it's pretty interesting, so you might
Yeah.
you might want to take a look at that. But yeah, and then what are you excited about, and what are you scared about in the world of senior living?
So what I'm excited about is the technology that is coming in, not for technology's sake, but to really make things better. So whether it's you know sensory capability in the bed that helps with fall prevention, or a need for care, or the vitals are moving, that's just getting better and better. And I think that there's a real attitude in the shows and conferences that I've participated in so far this year, that this isn't about competition, who we can elbow out. It's more of, let's get our act together as an industry the best we can before this silver tsunami folds over on us, and we get the bell curve of the volume coming through. So I think that is exciting, and there's a lot of opportunity. I think there's a lot of technology out there. I think the consolidation is coming in the next 3 to 5 years. The big players will get bigger. Big ideas will be, or interesting niches and capabilities will be connected by entrepreneurs, and it's only going to make it better for that resident. So I'm pretty excited about that. Um, what what kind of keeps me up at night a little bit is not intentional misuse of the tool, but just not losing sight of why we're using the tool. So
Yes.
I think automation, marketing automation, and generative AI are all great things, but we can't lose sight that that website visitor is coming on that site, probably not thinking all that clearly, because they're inquiring for loved ones. So and they've got a lot on their plate. So I want to make sure that we're using technology for the right reasons, and we're always looking at that end product or result or service through the lens of the prospect or the resident, and say, well, is this really going to be a good experience for them? Or does it just allow us to expedite how we handle leads? So I hope we don't get to that. Let's leverage technology, but let's not lose sight of why we're in this industry.
Yeah, that's a great insight. I really agree with you, and I love to hear that more and more people are realizing, let's not do it just for technology's sake, as you were saying, but really to help people, because that's what we are in the business for, is help people in a very important stage of their life, and
Yes.
in a very difficult also stage of their life. So it's really that, so I really like that. Tom, it was a true pleasure having you on the podcast, and I really wish you and the SiteStaff Chat team, it's a little bit of a mouthful, at least for me, all the best, and I'll see you probably at the next show. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know which one, but there's so many. But I'm sure you guys are doing a lot, and really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up, as the year passes and as the technology advances.
Well, thank you, Alex. I enjoyed it, and this has been a lot of fun.